and welcome to this week's Threes on Fire podcast. My name is Sadell Boyd. I'm Irving Henderson. Happy Easter to all of you out there. It is clearly, as I just said, Easter Sunday. Let's get right into things. But before we do, I want to admit, man, I had to give you your morning time. I had to give you some time to mourn. The last time we were on, we picked Duke to win the national championship,
We did.
and they lost. They lost in the final. Which, I mean, what happened, man? How do you lose like that?
It's
You're
really
talking about
it's really
it was an above 95% win that turned
Yeah,
into a loss.
I know. I guess it comes down to certain fundamentals, man. I mean, they couldn't get the ball in bounds clean. That's what really happened. When it came down to Houston pressing us on our inbounds, it's like they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle that situation. And they basically just fumbled the ball away. Like it ain't much to say. Like they had turnover, then 3, then they came down. The boy ended up dribbling the ball off his leg.
Off his leg,
turnover. Yep. They came down, scored again. I think they got fouled and scored, so it was an and one. Boy hits the free throw. We were still up then. We're still up 1.
It just seemed like they panicked. They just panicked.
Then he missed the free throws, and then on the rebound of the free throw, Coop gets called for a weird foul out of the blue that they was letting them kind of tussle all night, and then they picked that time to call the foul. And I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying that was kind of odd.
No, it's true, but you're right. You're right. My attitude on the refs, if you letting stuff slide all game long, you don't start calling fouls in the last minute of the game now. You wasn't calling it all game. Don't call it now.
Exactly.
If you were letting them play for 59 minutes, or if we talking about, on the other side, it's 40 minutes. If you were letting them play for 39 minutes, don't start calling fouls in that last minute. Don't start giving the little ticky-tack calls now. You were letting them play all game. And it was a ticky-tack foul.
It was.
Was it a foul? Yeah. But you wasn't calling it all night. Don't call it now.
Right. They've been tussling on the box outs all night.
All night. Now, what I will say, though, just quickly about the tournament, this is one of the best top-to-bottom tournaments we've had in a while. We had our upsets, but at the same time, the best teams, all 4 number ones went across. So we got upsets, and the best teams were dominant in getting to the Final Four. I just was expecting Duke to win it all. I thought Duke had enough talent to win. And, I joke with you about it all the time. Like when you do your bracket, you never put Duke in the Final Four. I always say that just messing with you. But I actually picked y'all to win, and I feel bad. I might have been the jinx this year. So you want to blame somebody? You can blame me, man. I jinxed y'all. My bad.
Don't do that, man. And surely enough. You know what? But you know what bothers me even more now? John talking about some Gator chomp, man. I'm like, bro, don't do that. Don't do that.
Now, I know John likes Florida. I know he likes Florida and football.
Yeah.
But when we talk college basketball, like you root for North Carolina, dude.
Exactly.
You don't get points off that. You're not a Florida basketball fan. We're not giving you that one, John. Like, nah, man, get out of here with that. And don't be coming on the show trying to do none of that either, man. Next time you come on, we don't want to see none of that. You are not a Florida basketball fan. I get it. You're a Duke hater. So I give you that for trolling, but you're not a Florida basketball fan. So let's not do that.
Right.
All right. Well, speaking of basketball, the NBA playoffs have begun. We made our predictions in our little group chat. Safe to say everything went according to plan first games? I mean, I know you picked Milwaukee to beat Indiana, but
no, that's still. I thought, I kind of thought that would happen. Actually, I kind of thought that would happen. I actually thought that I was hoping Milwaukee was still game one, obviously. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, it really doesn't matter whether they take game one or game two, or even don't take either. I think as long as they can hold home court until Dame gets back, that'll be the deciding factor. If they gotta go, everybody wins home court and game seven is the game they gotta win in Indiana, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, Indiana is one of those places. You don't want to have to play a game seven in Indiana.
You don't.
You don't. You don't want to have to play a game seven in Indiana. That crowd, that the Pacers fans are rowdy as hell. That's not an arena you want to go to for a seventh game. So Milwaukee had better try to steal. I guess that'll be game five. If it stretches that far, you better steal game five and win game six at home. Because you don't want to go to game seven in Indiana.
Well, that's
definitely
best case
don't want
scenario
that.
for them.
Yeah.
But I had the Bucks in seven anyway, so I think they're gonna have to face them on their home court at the end. And when it comes down to that, even though it is a hostile environment, if they have Dame back and if Dame can look like anything, I mean, you do have the most clutch player in the series. So
True.
even if he might not have his best games, he might show up in just the end moments to seal a game. And that's what I'm looking for.
Well, over in the Western Conference, Denver beat the Clippers in overtime in their game 112-110. If you saw what I put in the group chat yesterday, I said it. Denver's gonna have a run that's gonna win them this game because it just looked like the Clippers were in control, and then Denver would go on a run. They'd cut it to like 4, and they couldn't get it below 4, and then the Clippers would go on another run, and then Denver would cut it to 3, and then the Clippers would go on another run, and Denver would cut it to 1. And it just felt like at some point the Clippers were just flirting with disaster with that, where it's like you're gonna get got. They forced overtime, and mind you, they should have got a shot off at the end of regulation. I don't know what Jokic and Westbrook were doing there. It looked like there was someone in either corner open for a shot, and then Westbrook had the ball, and he jumped and then tried to bounce the ball off a defender. By the time he came down and got the ball again, that's it. That's the end of regulation, and they had to pull it out in overtime. How do you not get a shot off in that situation? Like, I don't understand how you don't even get a shot.
Well, the funny thing about that, because Jamal Murray had the ball first, and he ended up getting one-on-one with Kawhi, and it's kind of like he was like, "Nah, I don't want no parts of that."
Yeah.
And he gives it back to Jokic, and Jokic is like kind of like befuddled, like, "Dog, the plan was for you to, go one-on-one and do your thing, dog." So now he's looking to try to pass to somebody. He ends up passing it to Westbrook, and like you said, it was basically a scramble drill at that point. But you know what I thought could have happened?
Westbrook could have got out of his hands, though.
Huh?
He had someone open in either corner. All he had to do was pass it out, and he did neither. Then at this point, you have no choice but to shoot because time is almost up, and it's like he got hung up in the air but never took the shot.
But that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna actually say, off the rip, when Kawhi basically blitzed him and forced him over to that corner, basically, instead of passing the ball back to Jokic, he had Bron sitting right there.
Right there, yep.
On the wing, wide open, like you said. He could have kicked it to him and just lived with the shot.
Yep.
At least he would have got something off. So it's kind of like they dared them to win that way. And, well.
This may end up being one of the best series in first round. I honestly think that these two teams are very evenly matched. You saw it. The Clippers just have to be able to close these games out. Yeah. The Clippers do a better job of closing this game out. We're not even talking about overtime. They were in control the bulk of the game, and you start the fourth quarter, the Nuggets have Jokic on the bench. That's the time you need to be expanding the lead, and instead you let Denver hang around, hang around. The home crowd is just waiting for that moment where they can explode. And next thing you know, you on the losing side of it.
Yeah. I give props to Westbrook, man, because he takes a lot of flack, but he made several like hustle plays throughout especially coming down the stretch of the fourth, and then in overtime, he hit some wide open threes because they dared him to shoot them, and he iced them Jones. The one play though that I thought was gonna come back to haunt him. I don't know if you saw this sequence or if you can remember it the way I just did. That I'm about to.
Okay.
But Denver had the ball. I think they were tied. The game was tied, and they had the ball, and they got several attempts at the basket, and finally Westbrook snatches the rebound, puts it back for the layup. They go up 2.
Yeah.
Right. The very next play, okay, the Clippers come down. They like, all right, we gotta tie it up. They get the steal. Westbrook helps force the steal. He gets the ball, and he's like running, and I'm like, he's by himself, and I'm like, dog, it's 1-on-3. Slow down. And Westbrook pauses for a second like he's about to do the right thing. And then he says, no, I'm Westbrook. And he takes him on 1-on-3 and smokes the layup. And I'm like,
oh my God. Yo, is there any like superstar level player that misses more layups than Westbrook? Like, I've never seen a guy that talented miss so many layups. And I even said, like, but even during the game, Jokic was missing easy shots. Like I said it, like, he's missing bunnies. He's right there at the rim, and he's back rimming it. It's off the side of the rim. Like, you got to figure, though, going forward, most of those shots for Jokic are going to start.
Oh, for Jokic, they definitely start to go in. Westbrook just doesn't really have touch like that. He's so,
out of control.
Out of control, yeah. That's the best way to put it. But so when he smoked the layup, I thought for sure that the Clippers was going to come back down the other end, bang a 3 and win it like that. But what happened? Oh, they ended up forcing James Harden into the floater. He tied it up. They went into OT. And then, the rest was history.
Yeah. In the other Eastern matchup, the Knicks went on a 21-0 run. I mean, Detroit is the feel-good story, for how bad they've been. They're finally in the playoffs. I don't know how competitive of a series this is going to be. You picked the Knicks to sweep. I picked the Knicks to win in 5. Congratulations for making the playoffs. It's grand opening, grand closing. I don't see the Pistons hanging around in this series at all. And finally, in the Western Conference.
Wait. Before we get on to that, I do have to say something about the Knicks. I mean, the Pistons. Go ahead. I think they will force it. I think they will force it to 5. It'll still be a gentleman's sweep. This is about to be rough on the Knicks, man. I watched that game, and the Pistons was giving them hell. They were scrapping. They was being physical with them. They was fighting for every loose ball, like really fighting for it. Like I thought some Jeff Van Gundy type stuff was about to happen, man.
Yeah.
They just towed the line on. They was looking like Bad Boys 3 out there, like
old school basketball.
How rough they were playing, and Asar Thompson. Oh, he was putting the clamps on Jalen Brunson for like 3/4 of the game. That game really, Detroit had them right where they wanted them until Campaign came into the game. And Campaign instantly switched the momentum up and put it in the Knicks' favor. And then they never looked back. And that's when, the lack of experience of like Cade and some of the other younger cats.
Right.
Like it's shown through once that momentum flipped on them, they didn't know how to get back in the game.
Right.
They just
you don't have an answer at that point. Yep.
Yeah. So
experience definitely won out.
But I think they're gonna I think the Knicks are gonna be like, man, this is brutal, sweep or 5 games.
Yeah, listen, even if it's a short series, the Pistons are gonna take something from them. the Pistons are going to make them exhaust a lot of energy to win these games. They're not going to be cakewalk wins. They're going to force New York to really hunker down to win those games. And we've seen it where in the first round, a team gives another team all they can handle. And then by the second round, they don't have anything left because they
Yeah.
put all that energy in trying to get that first team out of it. That could happen to the Knicks this time around against Detroit.
Yeah, I believe that, man, because Jalen Brunson was out there getting beat up.
Mm-hmm.
And he ain't but so big.
Yeah. And if the refs are gonna let them play, and I'm looking up at my TV screen right now, I shouldn't be, but I'm actually looking at this OKC Memphis game right now, and even though
Yeah,
OKC is up 12 right now, this has been a physical start to this game, and the refs are not blowing the whistle. Like, you gotta really get fouled if they're gonna blow the whistle in this one, and I'm hoping they do that all the way through. Like we was just talking about, don't start calling them fouls late in the game. Let them play.
Let them play. All right, so the last matchup in the West.
How about the Timberwolves dogging the Lakers in game one, 117-95. It was as that score looked. Yeah, it was that kind of game. They had no answer for Minnesota. JJ Redick said they got caught off guard by the Wolves' physicality. How? You don't know how they play? You don't know what they want to do to beat you?
This has been since last year. This has been since a couple years now. Come on.
Now, we both picked Minnesota to win this series.
Good start.
So, I mean, Minnesota's off to a good start. Now, I will admit, that is one part me thinking Minnesota is a little better than the Lakers, and one part me not liking the Lakers.
Hey, we on the same page.
And before anybody start this ain't got jack shit to do with LeBron. I've been like that with the Lakers since I was a little kid. Okay, the Celtics and the Lakers, to me, couldn't stand them as a Sixers fan. And that's the lone mention the Sixers are going to get on this show today.
I understand, man. I understand. I kind of have a disdain for the Celtics, the Lakers too.
The Lakers? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, when the Luka trade happened, I was like, oh, see, that conspiracy shit.
Yeah.
like they're trying to they feel like the ratings are low, so it's like, oh, what better way to kick the ratings, jumpstart the ratings back up than to get the Lakers back in the mix, making the storylines, pop, and if they so happen to make it to the finals, well, we already know the Celtics are the number one contenders in the East, being the defending champs. Oh, right. What better way to boost the ratings than to have another Lakers-Celtics finals? Yeah, well, I'm like, fuck all that, though. I ain't trying to hear that.
And I'm gonna say this, Nico Harrison.
I don't want to see. This gonna be some real hating stuff. I don't want to see LeBron win because I kind of took like a little bet. Like, I made a.
I ain't mad at it.
I made a commitment to call LeBron the GOAT if he wins the finals this year and is finals MVP. So that can't happen. That can't happen. So the sooner they lose, the better I'll feel.
I'm not even going to entertain the whole GOAT debate thing any longer. Like, people ask me all the time, like, is there anything LeBron can do in your eyes to overtake Jordan at that spot? And my answer is always no, not at all, because he doesn't have that killer instinct like he should have had. We got too many moments of him crumbling when it mattered the most. You can talk about all of MJ's losing early in his career, and you right on point, but I can guarantee you at no point was he not the best player on the court.
That's true.
I mean, you out there in the playoffs against arguably one of the top 5 greatest teams of all time in the 86 Celtics, and the best player in the world at that point, depending on how you look at it, Larry Bird, Says that was God disguised as Michael Jordan. I'm good. The argument is over. It's over. That's it. We're not discussing this no more. Listen, and we'll talk a little bit about LeBron when we get to our main topic because there is something conversation-wise going on in sports lately, especially on social media, that took off within the last 2-3 months. So we'll get into that in our main topic of the show. The Stanley Cup Stanley Cup playoffs have also began. Winnipeg Jets and Colorado Avalanche won their game ones. Bunch of game ones today. I'm not going to run through all the rules. We have the NFL draft coming up Thursday night. Titans pick first. It'll be interesting to see what direction they're going to go in. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback. They have Will Levis. I mean, this is a quarterback-driven league. Could I see the Titans taking a quarterback? I could, but they don't need a quarterback. I mean, are you giving up on Will Levis like that? Is he Sam Rosen or Josh Rosen? Is he Josh Rosen? Are we giving up on Levis that fast and going to bring in another young quarterback to take his spot?
I mean, possibly. Like you're actually you're taking the unbeaten path on this because the consensus has been, as everybody been talking, that they're going to take Cam Ward.
I'm
not that high on either of the top quarterbacks, being Cam or Shador. And it's not like a real knock against them, but they're not like the guys that I feel like, you'd be like, yeah, that's my franchise guy. Like, you just know. You get what I'm saying? It's not like when Peyton Manning comes out or Michael Vick or who else was highly touted? Like John Elway, Dan Marino. It's not like you just be like, boom, boom, boom. Like, yeah, he got the measurables, he got the talent, the arm strength, and all these things. Like, those dudes have, like, a bunch of shakiness to their game where it's like, he's nice, but do I really want to pick him number one? Especially, like you said, in the Titans case, we just picked a quarterback a couple years ago high in the draft.
Yeah. I don't see the Titans picking a quarterback. I think
else do, though.
But anything can happen, man. I don't think they will, and I don't think they should. But you never know. You never know. Especially when you have.
I was gonna say, I personally do think they should, had the option open to, possibly trade out of the pick. But they could do the easy thing and just go ahead and take Travis Hunter.
Yeah, they could do that. They could definitely do that. But what I'm looking at here is now I'm looking at this top 10 and I'm trying to figure out what these teams are going to do as far as the quarterback position goes within this draft, because I don't think the Titans necessarily need a quarterback right now. The Browns, who picked second, they do. The Browns do. The Giants, you just signed 2 quarterbacks. So if you draft a quarterback here, he's QB3.
Yeah.
He's not playing. The Patriots don't need a quarterback. The Jaguars, I don't know if they're ready to give up on Trevor Lawrence yet.
They just paid Trevor Lawrence. They're not going to give up on him.
Exactly. The Raiders just signed they signed Geno Smith.
So
I don't see that. The Jets just signed
Justin
Fields. So I don't see that. You guys pick 8th. Y'all have y'all's quarterback of the future. The Saints are probably going to need a quarterback at 9 with Derek Carr now. He's probably not going to play this season. And the Bears are 10. They don't need a quarterback.
Right.
Speaking of this, there's one thing about this draft that I want people to get out of their head, especially Philadelphia Eagles fans. The Eagles are not trading A.J. Brown to get the 4th pick if Abdul Carter falls to 4. It's not happening. Let that go. And I wanted to look right in the camera and tell all these Eagles fans who keep trying to figure out how they can make these moves and maneuver. And if the Patriots, because AJ Brown has a relationship with Mike Vrabel, and WIP needs to shut the fuck up sometimes. They
Yeah.
do. You out here, it's not happening.
First of all, listen. For him to fall to 4 is crazy, anyways. Right? I mean, how do they expect him to fall to 4? They think both the Titans and the Browns are gonna pick QBs. Then they figure that the Giants are gonna pick Travis Hunter, and then the Patriots will be left with Abdul Carter at 4. Is that
Why
how
would
they
the
figure
Patriots
it out?
not? But why would the Patriots not take him?
See, that was going to be my next point. My next point was going to be, well, Vrabel's a defensive guy. He's going to want to take him. So
exactly,
how can you convince him?
AJ Brown, like you're pretty much saying we're going to trade AJ Brown and pretty much the entire draft for Abdul Carter. I just like Howie does certain things, but Howie does not give up draft capital. He's not trading damn near the entire draft for one player. It's not going to happen.
No, he
like Howie's not stupid. He's not giving those picks up. So y'all need to let that go, man. Like it's not going to happen. And another thing that popped up over the week, who came up with this rumor that the Eagles are going to trade Devontae Smith to the Dolphins for Jalen Ramsey?
That's just as bad.
That's worse.
Ramsey's
That's even worse.
I think Ramsey's like on his last leg, He's on his way out.
And Ramsey doesn't get along with Vic Fangio. So you're going to bring
about that aspect of it.
Yeah, like they don't get along. If anything, I'm trying to understand, why would you do that to bring in Ramsey when, if that's the case, you could have just kept one of the other corners that you let go. You could have kept Slay. You could have kept Rodgers. This is not your whole purpose for letting those other guys go was because you have so many young corners on the roster and it's their turn. You don't bring in a Jalen Ramsey. Now you're going to push one of your young guys back to the bench.
Right.
After you just made the moves to make them starters.
Right. And not to mention, you did that. You let Slay walk so that you could save money. Jalen Ramsey is making, he making a bag. So that don't even make sense logistic wise.
That's not going. It's not going.
Oh my God! I just happened to turn and look and just to peek the score of the game, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man!
Oh, it got ugly.
It's 41-22.
Oh wow! See, I actually turned to the Phillies game, so I kind of it got bad. It got bad. All right.
It's not even halftime.
So wait, they haven't scored in how long has it been since Memphis scored?
I don't know.
Because I could have swore they had 22 at the end of the first quarter.
Well, then they haven't scored in the first 3 minutes of the second. And OKC.
Yo, are you serious?
OKC has
Hold on, let me check this
up.
real quick.
It's 44-22.
Oh no, my bad. They had 20 at the end of the first quarter. So they on a a run. That's a 15-2 run. I just saw 18-2. Yeah, okay. Back to the Phillies game because that shit is over. Anyway, while we have the Eagles being brought up right now, our main conversation today is based around Jalen Hurts and about two different things that has come along with Jalen Hurts over the last couple of months. One, the constant disrespect this guy is getting. But more importantly, this new thing that these armchair social media people have come up with now called ring culture. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what ring culture says, according to these very special people, is that championships now are more important than stats. So if you're a guy that has the stats, your value is higher than that of a championship winner.
Oh, you meant
Now,
the
if we're
other way around at first.
now, no, no,
You said
no,
the stats.
mm-mm. The stats now mean more than championships.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stats are more important than the ultimate goal of winning a championship. Now, if we're talking about marginal players, right? If we're talking about marginal players. I'll give you that argument to a certain extent. And what I mean by that is, and I don't want to disrespect this guy in no way, shape, or form
Brad Johnson.
because he is a key contributor, right? Robert Ory has 7 championships,
Oh, I
right?
thought you was gonna go Brad Johnson, but okay.
No, 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 no. Robert Ory has 7 championships, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But he's just that guy that happened to be around those teams and have those moments. He was never a star player. He was never an all-star caliber player. He was just the best role player we've ever seen as far as basketball is concerned of a guy who wasn't an all-star level player. Because I will say, to me, Dennis Rodman is a role player.
Yeah.
He has his job. He does his job well, and you find a way to win with that. But Dennis Rodman was also Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's been to multiple All-Star games. So that
Rebounding
I'm
champ
not talking
for
about
like
a guy
7 years
like him.
straight. So
But when we're talking about a guy who is a star level player, like a Jalen Hurts,
yeah.
winning a championship enhances his resume. I don't give a shit about the stats. The guy wins. He wins. 4 years as a full-time starter, 4 playoff appearances, 2 Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl championship, a Super Bowl MVP. What do you mean we can't put him above a Josh Allen? What do you mean we can't put him above a Lamar Jackson? What do you mean we can't do that? Because here's a guy who plays on a team that primarily runs the ball.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts doesn't have to throw for 4,000 yards.
Sure.
He doesn't have to.
And he's a big part of that Russian attack.
Bingo. He doesn't have to be like he doesn't have to fit in the box that you're trying to put him in. You want him to be all of these different things. That's not his game. He goes out and he wins, except for when they play Tampa Bay, which is something completely different. God damn, I'm tired of the Buccaneers, man. Like, it just seems like that's the one team that they have his number.
Hey, it
They
gets like
have his number, but in the way that the Chiefs have Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson's number when it counts the most. And think about this for a second, right?
I was gonna
Hurts
say,
has only
remember,
lost 3 playoff games.
right? I was gonna say, remember when San Fran had the Packers number?
All the time. No matter how good the Packers were, you were not going to San Fran.
Right.
So I wanna really understand who is it that came up with this ring culture bullshit. Like, are we now supposed to not value championships anymore? Championships don't mean anything anymore. Like, now all of a sudden the conversation is, well, championships are a team accomplishment. True. You're right. I always agree with that. You'll never hear me disagree with that. People like to bring up LeBron, and I said we were going to pivot back to LeBron at some point. People like to bring up LeBron and his greatness and say, well, this man went to 8 straight finals. How many did he win? Did he lose more than he won?
Right.
Do we have it on film of him letting his team down in clutch moments when they needed him the most?
We do.
So it's not just ring culture. It's all encompassing. It's everything. Even in your failures, if you look good, I'm not going to blame you for why your team didn't win. Again, we said it. Championships are a team accomplishment. You're going to look at me and tell me, arguably, Hurts wasn't one of the better players, even in the Super Bowl that the Eagles lost a couple years ago?
I mean, he was great in that game. They
So
don't even
he
get the
has,
game close without him in that game.
and again, he has 2 outstanding performances in the Super Bowl, and he has a championship, and he has a MVP of the Super Bowl. We can talk about this guy right now being one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. He has the hardware to prove, and you want to continue to say, "Oh no, no, no." And Chase Daniel, you career backup, you want to keep, like, I get it. You already out there on that island talking shit about Hurts. You got to stay out there. You can't switch up. Don't be like some of these people coming on the air. I don't have Hurts in my top 10. And then say, oh, well, I had him in my top 10. No, you didn't. We got the proof. You didn't. Now you want to come out and say there's 9 to 10 other quarterbacks you would build your team around before Hurts. And you name guys that haven't played a single snap in the NFL? You said Cam Ward is one of those 9 guys?
Really?
Are you out of your fucking mind? Cam Ward ain't taken a single snap yet in the league. You would put, I'll build around him before Hurts. Show you will.
Wait. Time out.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Why is he so high on Cam Ward? I said it earlier that I'm not high on either of the top 2 quarterbacks in this draft class. And I'm like, now I'm befuddled because Cam Ward, really? Like this is not a knock. I mean, I'm hoping the boy has a great career and all that, him and Shador both. But the way I've scouted both of those players, they're like, if I was to tier them and think about where their level might be when they finally, get some experience, I'm looking at them as like, Kirk Cousins level player, something like that. Like Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr at his best, kind of like the way Baker's playing as of recent. I think that's the level they'll be at, which is good enough to, get you to the playoffs, but you'll need spectacular players surrounding them if you really want to win a championship. They're not the type of team. They're not the type of quarterback that's going to really drive your team forward, uplift your team, They're going to need a lot of help to really succeed, but I do think they'll be good starting quarterbacks, but to be that high on them, to say that a Super Bowl champion that has played in 2 Super Bowls and been clutch and a top level performer in both those instances against Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the field, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. And then wait a minute, hold up. And that's not even counting the QB that came out last year, like Caleb Williams. Is Caleb Williams also on this list? Like,
I think Caleb Williams was one of those 9.
I mean, this is absurd.
I know Jaden Daniels was one of them. Jaden Daniels was one of those 9 too. Jordan Love was one of those 9. You telling me a guy that this man beat in the playoffs, you'll take him first?
Has Jalen Love ever won against Jalen Hurts yet?
Nope.
I mean, I think at the least he's faced him 3 times and has taken 3 L's. They played them in the season opener, beat them. They
Yep.
played them in the playoffs, beat them.
Played them a couple years ago on Sunday Night Football.
And beat them. So,
yep.
What are we talking about here? If I was just off my head,
I don't understand
quarterbacks. I mean, see, the thing is with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson is they're just phenomenal. They're just phenomenal, just football players. It's undeniable, right? And then Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. But once you get past those three, like I would put Jalen fourth. Maybe Burrow. That's the only other person that I could see that's right there with him, considering that they're both young players. I mean, Stafford used to be there, but Stafford's getting older, so he's coming down. So how could you not have Jalen securely in the top 5? Even if you count Stafford, it makes no sense. You gotta think about how this player elevates his game when it comes playoff time. When it comes to clutch time, like in big games, you hardly ever see him have a bad game in a big game, like a premier matchup. Right. You never see him really fold in the playoffs. I don't understand. Like you said, the stats, like the throwing stats don't mean everything because that's not his game. Like you said, he's gonna play action, play off his running back, run the ball. He's gonna run the ball sometimes himself. He's going to get the first downs and the tush pushes and all that, get those little short yardage gains, and he's going to manage the passing game.
And this is my thing. They'll talk about his touchdown numbers, and then I'll go to it and say, yes, he doesn't have a ton of passing touchdowns because typically the Eagles get inside the 5, they're running the ball. They're not throwing the ball. They have a great offensive line. They're going to give it to the running back. They're going to let Hurts do a quarterback draw, or they're going to do the damn tush push. They're going to be more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns because that's the nature of this offense. But when you start talking about guys like Herbert and Nix and Mayfield, and you start saying, I'll take those guys over Jalen Hurts, are you smoking something? I mean, you legitimately either have to be smoking something or drinking something if you're going to tell me right now you would take Bo Nix over Jalen Hurts. You would take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts. If you look at me and tell me you'll take Mahomes, I don't have an issue with that. You'll take Allen. I mean, okay. Jackson, okay. But both of those guys have playoff failures where they had clutch moments against Mahomes and folded. Now, I don't blame Lamar Jackson for what happened in that playoff game with Andrews dropping that pass. Not his fault. Not his fault. I stall him out for that.
Yeah.
But once we get past those 3 names, right? You can't name someone definitively that you would take over Hurts. Definitively, where you could say, yes, no, I guarantee you I will take him and we'll be a better team. And then I'll flip it over and say this one other thing about it.
Go ahead.
He's beaten them all except for Herbert, and he's only played against Herbert once. He's beaten them all. He's beaten Mahomes in Kansas City. He's beaten Burrow in Cincinnati. He's beaten Lamar in Baltimore. What the fuck else? What are we talking about here, man? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like, and then to throw in this ring culture thing, do we put too much emphasis on championships? It depends. Again, it depends on who we're talking about. If we're talking about, like, people want the whole LeBron MJ comparison thing and say, oh, well, LeBron's been to the finals 10 times. Yes, he has. He only won 4.
Right.
This man went 6, won all 6.
Yeah.
And then people say, oh, well, if that's the case, then Bill Russell should be the greatest player of all time because Bill Russell won 11. If you want to call Bill Russell better than Michael Jordan, I'm not going to argue with you.
It's kind of
I'm
crazy.
not going to argue with you. Here's why I'm not going to
But this
argue
is the
with you.
thing. I'm gonna tell you this: if it is the end all be all, winning
Mm-hmm.
the championships, and then you
Right?
say Bill Russell, well, what am I supposed to say, man?
Nothing.
You
You
got
can't
it.
say nothing.
You
You
got
got it. I'm not going. I'm
it. You
not going
better
to
stick
argue
with
that
him.
point, right?
You better
I'm not
stick
going to
with
argue
him.
that point. But here's the thing that I try to tell these LeBron fans once they say that, right? The moment you tell me, okay, well, Russell is above MJ because Russell has 11, right? I'm gonna look you in the face and say, you don't even realize how you just wrecked your own argument because now you just push LeBron further down the list
Way down.
because what Magic got 5,
Kareem got 6.
Kareem got 6. See what I'm saying? So now what?
Kobe has 5.
Kobe, yeah,
Tim Duncan has
exactly.
5. Tim Duncan has 5, including 2 against LeBron.
Yep. Curry has what? 4?
4.
4?
Yeah.
2 at LeBron. Oh, what? 3 at LeBron's expense or 2? 3?
3.
So now what we talking about? You do that, right? Once you start entering other things into the conversation now, you start diminishing your own argument. A championship is not necessarily the end all be all, but a championship is the cherry on top in how we look at you. We're going to look at Dan Marino a lot greater if he has a Super Bowl ring
Oh yeah.
because he has the stats along with the championship.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, a lot better if they have that one championship.
Think about it like this. My favorite player in the league at the
Mhm.
moment, and then it's been probably now for about the last 8 to 10 years has been Giannis. If Giannis would have
Mhm.
never won a championship, he would be basically Karl Malone and Charles Barkley.
Absolutely. We can even go back. Dr. J is one of the biggest NBA icons, one of the biggest basketball icons. He was, you know, the guy that held the torch before handing it off to Magic and Bird, who handed it off to MJ.
Yeah.
He was that guy. If Doc doesn't win a championship, the way we think about Doc goes down.
Yeah.
It goes down because he doesn't have that championship. He's a great player who didn't win. I would much rather be in the category of a guy who won a championship and stayed at this consistent level throughout their career than
Yeah.
a guy who has the stats that are up here but nothing to show for it.
Right.
And honestly, like it's almost like
Like you
it's
end
a
up like Elgin
loser.
Baylor.
Yep,
That's a tough one.
yep, yep. And it's unfortunate. And
Yeah.
but this conversation, like we're gonna treat Jalen Hurts like he's just some dude. This is not the same. Like this is
What
not
a
the same
Brad
thing as
Johnson.
Nick Foles. No. I'm not even gonna say Brad Johnson. This is not the same thing as Nick Foles. It's not. It's not the
No.
same thing as Nick Foles. This is a guy who is a franchise quarterback who has done nothing but win. All he's done is win. So we're gonna knock him for winning,
It's
and
crazy.
then you want to throw it up. Well, he had a stacked roster. Let me dispel that argument. Okay, the roster was so stacked that damn near nobody picked the Eagles to win.
Right.
Stacked roster, right?
And the roster, hold up, man, because so just the acquisition of Saquon and the reacquisition of CJ Gardner Johnson turned the team from terrible last year, the way they fell apart in the second half of the season, got waxed in the playoffs. That team added two players, one that they previously had already, that when they had them, they wasn't stacked. And then just, obviously Saquon's a superstar. No denying that. But that's it. On a football team,
But
football
let's
team
remember.
takes,
But let's remember. Let's go back to the acquisition. But let's go back to the acquisition of Barkley, right? What did everybody say? They overpaid. He's injury prone. They didn't need a running back. This move is not going to work. How are they going to give the ball to Barkley and then pass the ball to AJ Brown, the biggest diva in the NFL? How are they going to how are they going to make all these guys happy? That's what y'all were saying. And then they were 2-2 and everybody wrote them off. They were 2-2 and lost one more game the rest of the year.
Oh yeah,
they got there were people that picked Green Bay to come into Philly and beat them. There were people that picked the Rams to come into Philly and beat them. There were people that picked Washington to come into Philly and beat them. But you want to sit here and tell me they had this stacked roster where nobody had the expectation of them to win. More than 70% of the Super Bowl picks, they picked the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Then the Eagles win in dominating fashion. And now, it's a stacked roster. Look at who they got. They got the best offensive line in the league, and they got the best defense in the league. Nobody was checking for Zach Bond. He was a special teams guy. Nobody was thinking Zach Bond was going to be a defensive player of the year finalist.
Coming over
Nobody
from Tennessee, who knew who he was.
Exactly. I mean, who stop it. You just want you want to nitpick at little things because Hurts exceeded expectations. The Eagles exceeded expectations. And trust me, if we were sitting here talking about another team with another quarterback being disrespected like this, I would say the same thing. If we were sitting here talking about the Ravens winning the Super Bowl this past season, right? If the Ravens had won the Super Bowl and some asshole on Twitter was talking about ring culture and why Lamar doesn't get the props that he deserved, I would be sitting right here saying the same thing. He has the stats and he's a winner. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, I'm going to ask one question. Did you win? Yes. Now, after the did you win question, now we can look at the stats and see how good of a player you were individually. But you won. So if you didn't win, if you're a guy like Dan Marino, your stats are great and you belong to be talked about among the great quarterbacks to ever play in this league. But your placement in the hierarchy, you drop. I can't put you in front of Joe Montana. I can't put you in front of Tom Brady. I can't put you in front of Peyton Manning. I can't put you in front of Drew Brees. I can't. I can't put you in front of the guys that won.
Right. And Drew Brees, man, that's the one right there. Because
take the championship from Brees.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like, even let's think about our boy, the top diva, Aaron Rodgers.
Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. And then the guy whose spot he took, Brett Favre, same thing. You have the numbers and you have a championship. You instantly move up. You move up. A guy with the numbers that don't have a championship doesn't get to stay in that spot. You don't get to stay there. I'm sorry. John Elway without a championship ring, he doesn't get to move up on the damn hierarchy list of where they rank among the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Steve Young without a championship doesn't make the top 100 players of all time list.
Right.
So you guys let us know if we tripping. Like, is ring culture really a thing, or is this just some ignorant bullshit created by the masses on social media?
Right.
All right, listen, let's get into our awards of the week. John's not here, so I'm going to hold the Dumbass of the Week award this week and give it to Phillies relief pitcher Jordan Romano. Listen, I know the season just started, but there's no way you can have a guy in your bullpen with an ERA above 15. Okay? Yesterday, the Phillies had an 11-4 lead over the Marlins. It was 11-4. I was ready to get on with the rest of my Saturday and just coast through. Blink twice, and all of a sudden, this comfortable win is now 11-10 because this smacked ass gave up 6 runs. Now, should the manager have pulled him out? Yeah. But 6 runs? Dog, how do you give up 6 runs like that? All you got to do is just, first of all, you don't throw meatballs, but just get out of the damn inning. It's over. Nope. Now we got unnecessary drama in the 9th inning. And again, I don't like these bargain basement deals that the Phillies have been doing with some of these relievers lately, these last couple of years, like the David Robertsons and then Romano this year. Like, get or keep an actual quality bullpen piece, because you let Jeff Hoffman go to the damn Blue Jays and he's killing it, and Romano needs to be like out of here. Like, send him down, cut him. 15? Your ERA is above 15. That's damn near impossible, dog. You gotta go. You gotta go somewhere, man. Get him the fuck out of here ASAP. So who's your person?
Well, I'm gonna have co-people of the week, and
Okay.
really, it's just it's a amalgamation of this year in the NBA, and I'm giving it to Jokic and SGA, like our two candidates for MVP in NBA. And man, it's like so hard. Like, I don't know who the choice should be. You got a center averaging a triple double.
Yeah.
Already 3-time MVP that has been holding his team together through injuries, through apparently coaching turmoil, because this coach ended up getting fired right at the end of the season, and playing better than he played in the other previous MVP seasons. So you have that in Jokic, best player in the league. But now you have also Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has gotten his team again to the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, the tougher conference in the NBA, for the second year in a row. And by far, they have just been bombing on teams pretty much the whole season, them and the Cavs. And it's just, and the numbers he putting up is like Jordan-esque. So it's like, and speaking of bombing,
the hell, they up by 32 at halftime?
And the Grizzlies only have 36.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. I think that's the series we should have probably picked the sweep in.
Should have probably picked it. I thought the Grizzlies was going to come out with more grit, at least. But, SGA, man. Like,
yeah.
Like,
I think this is the year. This is the year that he should win it. I honestly think this is the year that he should win. But reputation, I have a feeling the voters they're going to give it to Jokic. He's going to get a reputation MVP.
For me, I'm hoping they pick SGA and have some kind of voters fatigue and pick him.
I thought he should have won it last year.
I thought he should have won it last year too.
We both said it last year. He was the MVP and he didn't get it. Now, are they going to do a make good this year and give it to him, or just going to stick to status quo?
It's tough. I don't know.
Oh, and you know what?
You can't have co-MVPs.
I mean, you could. We've seen co-rookies of the year before.
Yeah, but that's rookie. Like,
you listen, man. I could see it coming down to the voters splitting votes, and you end up with co-MVPs. I hope that doesn't happen. I think SGA should be the MVP this year. Will he get it? Probably not.
It remains to be
Probably not.
seen, man. I can't wait for the results, man, because
Yep. Oh yeah, we definitely gonna talk about. Listen, I'm gonna let you have that because I've been removed from the regular season.
yeah,
Had nothing to do with the Sixers. It's just it wasn't good basketball to watch. And then it's a long season. Some of these games were just terrible to literally sit there and get through. You had some matchups were pretty damn good, but most of the regular season was just like, yo, can we just fast forward to the playoffs where these games really matter? I'm watching the playoffs now. I am. I'm definitely watching the playoffs. But the regular season was just too much of a slog for me, man. I'm
yeah, it
sorry.
was. It was like that. Listen, I ain't gonna lie and say like I watched a whole lot of NBA basketball this year. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would dibble and dabble. I watch a
Yep.
quarter of a game here. I watch a quarter of a game there. I would do just enough, basically to kind of make sure I keep my eyes on what's going on
Mm-hmm.
and have a feel of how each team plays and how certain players play. Because I'm really interested in the Rockets. Like,
You know what? Thank you for reminding me, man. I gotta record that game. I gotta record that game. Yeah, I definitely gotta record that game tonight because my what to watch is the NBA and NHL playoffs, but it's WrestleMania tonight. It's John Cena's last WrestleMania match, so I'm definitely trying to watch that. But I figure once the game is over, once WrestleMania is over, I'll just watch the rest of the Warriors and Rockets game, and I'm gonna add that to the library and just that game. I don't need all of it. I just need that game because I want to watch that from beginning to end and not miss a single second because I am looking forward to that series.
yeah. I got one of my young boys is a Men Thompson. That's one of the young boys I really like,
Mhm.
coming up in the league. So it's gonna be interesting, man, because the Warriors have, obviously all the experience in the world you could have in a
Mhm.
championship pedigree behind them. But then the
Right.
Rockets, these young guns, man, and they have so much talent and athleticism, and Udoka ain't no pushover as a coach. So,
Mhm.
and then you got the Dylan Brooks versus Draymond drama that's gonna definitely ensue.
Something gonna pop off, man. Something
Yeah.
gonna pop off at some point in the series between them, man. I see a couple of technical fouls being given out,
Oh, for sure.
And I do want to say this to a lot of the basketball watchers that's watching this. The league is in good hands. Okay, the league is in good hands. You have some very good young players in this league. Maybe not, one singular guy, right? You're gonna need this host of guys to hold down the league until that one singular superstar comes along.
True.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But let's I think I want these elders from within the sport to stop tearing the game down. Like, yeah, we'll pick it apart as fans, but when the older players are coming in and trashing these young guys, man, it's a bad look. And
Yeah.
it does nothing to sell the game to the generation of fans that should be watching. You're basically telling them, no, don't watch this shit, it's trash. Don't watch these games because this dude can't do this and they don't do this and they don't do that. Yeah, it's a different game. It's aspects of the game that I cannot stand. I can't stand the dependency, the over dependency on threes.
Yeah.
But that's just the way the game is right now.
Right.
It is. So stop tearing the game down. Chuck, Shaq, yo, stop tearing the game down. Yo,
Those two
for
in
real.
particular, boy, because they're
For
funny.
real. And the other thing that I will add to my what to watch, make sure you watching all the rest of the inside the NBA that you can, because they're done after this year. I don't think they're coming back next season. Watch Inside the NBA and give them their final send off
Yeah,
before the show ends.
right.
All right, man, that's about it, man. I'm about to sit here and flip between. Well, I'm not turning back to the basketball game now. So
Well,
I'm,
you gotta wait
I'm,
for the next
I'm
game.
yeah, I'm gonna sit here and watch the Phillies until the next game start. I'll watch the next game, 7 o'clock, WrestleMania Night 2. And when WrestleMania Night 2 is over, I'm gonna watch the Warriors and Rockets game. Thank God I don't have to go to work tomorrow. So
You lucky.
I can stay up tonight and watch. Yeah, it should be a fun time tonight, man. Should be a
Right.
very fun time tonight.
So the next time we get on, we gotta dive more into the NFL draft, man.
Oh yeah, we'll recap the NFL draft. We'll recap where we are with the NBA playoffs. Obviously, going to talk about the hockey playoffs and see where we are with that. The Phillies right now. We'll have a little bit of a conversation on them as well. Not a great start to the year. Still a game back in first place in the National League East, but it's early. It's April.
Oh yeah,
It's
come on
April.
now.
As long as you're not far out of it in April, you're good. And this is a team that typically starts slow and gets hot during the summer. So
Yeah,
relax. Although we will have the Aaron Nola conversation. I don't think they like this dude, yo. They won't score for this motherfucker at all. Like at all. Like, nah. Like if Taiwan Walker is getting run support, but Nola ain't. I'm starting to think they don't like this dude, yo.
yeah,
They
that
don't
sounds
fuck with
like
him at all. Like, yeah, that's sad. That
that
is
is
sad.
bad.
Yeah, but listen, man, we'll have all that next time we come on. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Okay.